Support Center of Clean Foundation, in collaboration with the Police Service Commission and the Nigerian Bar Association, observed the governorship election, the governorship and state houses of assembly and council elections held throughout the 36 states of the Federation and Abuja. This report covers incidents from the opening up to the close of the polling across the country. Democratic elections thrive when security of life and property, as well as safety of electoral officials, materials, and national critical infrastructure are guaranteed. Electoral violence and insecurity remains a serious challenge in the country. Methodology. The Election Security Support Center of Clean Foundation tracked security-related developments across the country through 1,600 Clean Foundation trained observers deployed across the 774 local government areas in the country. In addition, Clean Foundation deployed a citizen observer mobile application called Teller, which allows ordinary Nigerians to report security issues in their polling units. Other information related to election security were equally tracked from newspaper reports and social media platforms. Security-related observations. There were reported killings in Rivers, Kogi, Imo, Akwa Ibom, Oyo, Ebonyi, Benue, and Enugu states. 5 persons were reported killed in Kana local government and 1 person in Ahoda West local government area of Rivers State, while Benue, Kogi, and Katsina states recorded two deaths each. The figures may have increased, but as at the time the report was compiled, these are the numbers of deaths we recorded in different states. Snatching of electoral materials. There were incidents of snatching of electoral materials, including ballot boxes and sensitive materials, in different parts of the country. For example, in polling unit 003 Ward 8, Kwame local government of Gombe State, this was experienced. In wards 2, 3, 11, 12, 13, and 17 of Gokana local government area of Rivers State. Snatching of electoral materials was also witnessed. In Ward 04 polling unit 1 and 2 in Ikwere local government area, electoral materials were also snatched. And in Wards 1, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10 of Ahoda West local government area of Rivers State, electoral materials were also snatched and carried away. Presence of armed forces. Our observers reported the presence of different security agents, including the Nigerian Armed Forces, during the elections. The presence of Nigerian Armed Forces were most visible in some states, in South-South, that is Akwa Ibom and Rivers State, in Southeast, in Abia State, and non-central, including Plateau, Benue, and Kwara. In some places, their presence raised different security concerns. For example, in Gokana, Oyigbo, Degema, Ikwere, Emoha, Ogubolo, Okrika, Kana, Obiakbo, Eche, Akukutoro local government areas of Rivers State, security personnel in military uniform were allegedly involved in sporadic shooting, voter intimidation, killing and cutting away of electoral materials. In addition, observers reported that they were denied access into collection centers by armed men in military uniform, mostly in Rivers and Akwa Ibom states. In Ewayam Ward, Awaji, Konshisha local government in Benue State, observers also reported that armed security personnel were seen aiding politicians in compromising the electoral process. Harassment of observers and voters. At polling unit 002, Ward 11, Etak, Ekom local government area of Akwa Ibom State, party agents and political talks intimidated and threatened observers and journalists. In addition, the phone and handbag of a Clean Foundation observer were snatched at gunpoint by political thugs at polling unit 2, Ward 3, Rivers State, that's Asari Toru local government area of Rivers State. In addition, the mobile device used by a Clean Foundation observer deployed to Obiakpo local government area Ward 5, Polling Unit 30, was matched by armed men in military uniform, and the memory card was removed as he attempted to record an incident of electoral material in the polling unit. Arrival of security personnel at the polling unit. Clean Foundation observed that 77% of security personnel arrived at the polling units across the country before 8 a.m., while 16% arrived between 8 a.m. and 8:59 a.m., and that 5% arrived from 9 a.m. or later. However, during the presidential and National Assembly elections, our observers reported that 65% of security personnel deployed for election duty arrived before 8 a.m. So, compared to the governorship and houses of assembly elections, we know there's a significant improvement on the punctuality of security personnel that were deployed on election duty. Possession of firearm at the polling unit. Clean Foundation observers observed that in 88% of the polling units across the country, security personnel deployed for election duty were not armed. However, there were reports of firearm possession in 8% of the polling units. For example, in Ward 1, Polling Unit 5, Abia State Polytechnic in Abia South, Abba North local government area of Abia State, security personnel were armed inside the polling area. During the presidential and National Assembly elections, 13% of the security agents deployed for election duty bore arms at the polling units. This shows a marginal decrease in the number of security personnel who were armed at the polling units. Adequacy of security personnel at the polling unit. Clean Foundation observed that on an aggregate, 68% of the polling units had 2 or more security personnel on ground, while 31% of the polling units had 1 security personnel on ground. However, during the presidential and National Assembly elections, 70% of the polling units had 2 or more security agents, while polling units with just 1 security officer was 27%. Identification of security personnel. Clean Foundation observed that 94% of security personnel are 94% of security personnel were wearing easily identifiable name tags. However, 4% of security personnel were not wearing identifiable name tags at all. However, during the presidential and National Assembly elections, 92% of the security personnel were wearing easily identifiable tags, and 6% were not wearing easily identifiable name tags. In terms of observed to be approachable, reports from our field observers showed that 94% of security personnel at the polling units were approachable. 4% were observed to be somewhat approachable, while 2% of security personnel were not approachable at all. There was no significant difference between the data obtained during the presidential election and the National Assembly elections and the one we obtained during the governorship and state houses of assembly. In terms of impartiality of security personnel at the polling unit, statistics available to Clean Foundation shows that 93% of security personnel were impartial, while 1% of the security agents were somewhat partial. The status of impartiality of 5% of the security personnel was not determined by those who observed them at the various polling units where they were deployed. General observations. Clean Foundation observers observed that 89% of the polling units were safe and secure, while 9% were observed to be somewhat safe and secure. From our observations, actually, what we have noted is that most of the polling units are relatively safe. Where the problems begin to take place is towards the collection of when the votes end, the counting begins, and then the movement of material from the voting units to the wards for collection to begin. That is where we have noticed a lot of challenges, and I think it's something that the INEC will have to look at again, the process of collation. The collation has become a sore point in our election process. So these are our general observations from all that we have observed during this election. Voter intimidation. Voters were forced to vote for a particular political party, in addition to widespread vote buying or inducement. Similarly, a party agent was forced to leave the polling unit entirely. In Ondo State, at Ward 007 Polling Unit 018, Ondo West Local Government Area of Ondo State, party talks dragged the voting cubicle and insisted that anyone not voting for a particular party should leave the polling unit. The polling units compared to the presidential and national assembly elections 2 weeks ago. Specifically at polling units 011 Custom Quarters Caro Site, Abuja, there was low voter turnout. In fact, almost all the states in the Federation experienced low voter turnout during the election that was just concluded yesterday. Deployment of INEC officials. The deployment of INEC personnel for the governorship and National Assembly elections indicates an improvement from the presidential and National Assembly elections. CLEAN observed the earlier arrival and setting up of polling units across the country. CLEAN Foundation observed the issue of poor welfare of core members. For example, at polling unit 026 Ojudu, Ward B, Lagos State, INEC ad hoc personnel reportedly refused to go to the polling unit on the allegation that they were not paid. This was also observed in several polling units across the state, including Ojudu, Ojota, and Maryland area of Lagos. Card reader issues. CLEAN Foundation observed increased performance of card readers across the country. CLEAN only observed few incidents of non-performance of card readers, such as Community Primary School, Alosekere, Owodede, Ede North, Osun State, as well as Shomolu and Alimosho local government areas in Lagos State. However, the issues were resolved by INEC and voting continued in the respective polling units. In my own personal experience, the card reader recognized my PVC, but my fingerprint was not captured. I had to thumbprint the voter's card and voter's register and then put my phone number there as established by INEC guidelines. So the card reader is still a work in progress. We noticed a lot of vote trading, so I'm discussing vote trading now. CLEAN Foundation observed incidents of vote trading across the country. Vote trading involves both buying and selling. In some states like Ekiti and Lagos State, it was done discreetly, while in some states it was open and public knowledge. Observer noted cases of vote trading in Ebonyi State, that is Onhuku local government, Enugu State, Niger State, Imo State, Kwara State. It was also recorded in Kogi State, especially in Muslim Community Secondary School, Lokoja. In addition, observers also noted cases of vote trading at polling unit 3, Makode Ward, Rimi, local government area, local government area of Katsina State. In addition, in polling unit 007 Comprehensive Secondary School, Amakoyo, Owerri North, there were incidences of vote trading. Furthermore, in Makurdi, Benue State, EFCC officials, that's the Economic Financial Crimes Commission, intercepted a busload of money suspected to be monies meant for vote trading. Votes were traded at different amounts. In fact, what we had is that the governorship election was now cheaper than that of the presidential election, and some people refused to go to the line until they were paid, arguing that the governorship should actually be more expensive than the presidential. It's very unfortunate. Underage voting. There were cases of underage voting observed by our observers. For example, in polling unit 006, Ward Nasarawa Katagum Zaki local government area of Bauchi State, underage voters were present. Conclusion. The total death of some citizens can be regarded as another important step in Nigeria's experience with democracy. It is, however, disturbing that we are yet to have a violence-free election. The reports of violence raise great concerns and demands for critical intervention to stop the trend. Elections must be devoid of violence for democracy to continue to grow and flourish. We commend the majority of Nigerians that have demonstrated commitment to the electoral process by going out to vote and largely conducting themselves in a peaceful manner. The Election Security Support Center of Clean Foundation finds it imperative to call on the federal and state governments, the security agencies, civil society organizations, and all well-meaning Nigerian citizens to think of measures that need to be put in place to ensure the conduct of free, fair, and violence-free elections in Nigeria. We cannot continue to have violence featuring in our elections at all levels of government. It is disturbing that Rivers State has continued to experience violence in almost all elections in Nigeria. In fact, as we speak, the election in Rivers State has been suspended till further notice because of widespread of violence. We just received the information from INEC. We call upon the traditional and religious leaders, political leaders, business people and professionals, civil society leaders, and government, including the media, to come together and find lasting solutions to violence that mark elections in not only in Rivers State, but in different parts of Nigeria. Rivers State is only a sad example of what happens in other places during elections. The country as a whole, therefore, needs to take a serious view of election violence with a view to bringing it to an end. It is our candid view that if politicians do not become desperate in their quest for power, the level of violence will be minimized greatly. Some Nigerian politicians have decided to turn a civil process of acquiring power into war. If politicians have abided by the rules and respected the wish of the people to freely and peacefully choose their representatives, the level of violence in the elections will be curtailed. This resort to violence places unnecessary pressure on the security agencies and the Nigerian people during elections. It is time that political parties commit themselves to peaceful participation in elections beyond the ceremony of key contestants signing peace accords. It is very worrying. It is very worrying development that requires a serious soul searching on this persistent but unhealthy culture of electoral violence. Widespread insecurity in the country negatively affected the elections. It led to deployment of the military in policing elections with adverse implications for unfettered participation of the electorates. Deployment of the military for election duties also resulted from the desperation and conduct of politicians who sponsor electoral violence, hire thugs, and promote inter-ethnic and inter-religion intolerance and hatred. Government should introduce and implement programs for political culture, the orientation of citizens, especially politicians, to internalize the values and norms of democratic politics, elections, and governance. And I think in conclusion, it is important to reiterate the fact that election is a civil process. But unfortunately, in Nigeria, we have turned it to become a competition that we have to lose lives, we have to lose limbs, and we have to count body bags. We pray that things will change and that politicians will actually learn to play the politics according to the rules and reduce the violence that has become the norm in our electoral process. Thank you very much, and may God bless the Federal Republic.